Hello everyone, you made it! You're at the end of the Horizon Zero Dawn board game playlist, and here we have the final box, which is the Kickstarter exclusives. So I think I mentioned before that I did not back the original Kickstarter. I had a quick look and I think the all-in pledge was something like £280, which actually for the amount of content you would get, it's actually not that bad. But in terms of modern board game prices anyway. But this was back in 2018, I think. So back then, that was quite a large sum, whereas nowadays, that's actually a bargain. So think of that what you will. But anyway, the Kickstarter exclusive box basically just contains everything that was included as stretch goals and stuff that was only originally given out to backers. However, Steamforge did for a limited time sell this on their website, which is where I got my hands on one. So if we take a look at the front of the box, it says here Forge and Hammer required and core game required. So there's some stuff in here that does require additional expansions, but usually if you had backed this on the Kickstarter and you had this Kickstarter exclusives box, you'd probably have all of that stuff anyway. So let's take a look at the back. On the back you can see there is a lot more stuff to take in than usual. So let's have a read of what we've got. The Kickstarter exclusives contains a plethora of expansions for Horizon Zero Dawn, the board game, unlocked during the campaign. New event cards allow Aloy to join the hunt, and for hunters to gain the favour of the Sunhawk Talana Kane Padish. Additional merchant cards provide unique and rare items for players to master, and prestigious Hunter's Lodge weapons. Assume command of the Shadow Karja Exile, a new playable hunter that can follow two entirely different moral codes. Players can also experience the alternate play mode for narrative scenarios, immersing them in their favourite quests and events from Horizon Zero Dawn, and allowing them to face a sinister Eclipse and their corrupted machine allies. You'll need a copy of the board game and the Forge and Hammer expansion to fully play the narrative scenarios. So I actually played one of the scenarios, I believe. I think we were Aloy and Val, which was pretty fun. So if you have knowledge of the video game, then there's some pretty cool characters on here you may recognize. We've got Sona, Erend, Val, Aloy. We've got the Shadow Karja, we've got Talana, and then we've got some people like Deval, who is the head of the bandits, I think, if I remember rightly. Not entirely sure, but yeah, some pretty cool stuff on here. Let's open it up and take a look. So this is definitely the video I was most looking forward to making. So one of the main reasons I'm doing these videos is one, just to be informative, so to give a no frills quick look at each of the expansions. So if someone was considering buying one of them, they could just find my videos and see what's included in them and my opinion on whether it's worth the price or not. But the other thing is also because they're quite long games and I haven't had a chance to play with my friends in just a little while. So it's nice to take a trip down memory lane and actually have a look at all the stuff that's included. So Kickstarter exclusives, we start off with a pretty thick instruction manual. This will go through the contents. So you can see all the different things that are included. So all of the different miniatures and their cards that are related to them, which is pretty awesome. And then there's stuff as well about how you would use Talana and Aloy. And then you have the narrative scenarios as well. So we'll look at all of that in just a minute. Underneath there, we have some new tiles. So we have 4 new tiles. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 K. K obviously being for Kickstarter. And you can see they're kind of grassy terrain. This one also has some kind of like city on it. That'll be part of the campaign, I guess. And then on the back of here, you also have some sandy ones. So yeah, lots of variety in these ones. Underneath that, we have all of the awesome looking miniatures and cards. So let's take a look in here. So starting off on the top row of miniatures, we have the Cultist Marksman, if I can get the focus. So this guy is kind of similar to the Bandit Marksman, but he is part of the Shadow Karja cult, or the Eclipse, I think they came to be known as in the game. So pretty cool. And we get 6 of these. Then we have the Cultist Thug. So this is a bad guy with some kind of scrap axe kind of thing. And he's pretty cool. He's got a hood over his head or some description. And we get 6 of these. The final cultist we get is the Cultist Heavy. So he's got some pretty awesome looking heavy machine gun. And you see he's got like ammunition tied around him, looking pretty cool. Bandolier, I think it's called. Not sure. But anyway, we get 2 of these. Moving on down, we have some mercenaries. So I guess these are related to Deval, perhaps. I'm not entirely sure, but this is the Mercenary Heavy. And you can see he's carrying some big machine gun as well. But it's more like an Osram, so that's pretty cool. We get 4 of these. Then here is the mercenary warrior. So they are carrying a bow, once again with Osram looking garb on him, looking pretty cool. And we got 4 of these. Finally, on the mercenary side, we get Derval. So I guess Derval was head of the mercenaries as well. He was in the video game, but I've said before it's been a while since I played Zero Dawn instead of Forbidden West. So I'm not entirely sure what Derval does, but he's pretty cool. Right, now to look at the brown miniatures, which are the character miniatures. Starting off, we have this really awesome looking Aloy miniature, and Aloy is mounted on a charger. Is that a charger? No, it's a strider. It's not a charger. I should know that. So Aloy mounted on a strider. Pretty cool. I'm not sure if you would play the game as this miniature or if she would come in later on. So we'll see if there are any cards related to this. Next up, we have Varl. So Varl is one of the Nora who becomes friends with Aloy, and he's got a pretty big part in the Forbidden West story, which is really awesome. So nice to have a Varl miniature. Next we have Talana, who is the Sunhawk of the Hunter's Lodge. So the entire game of the Horizon Zero Dawn board game is centered around the Hunter's Lodge. So it's cool to finally get a Talana miniature to go with it. Next up we have an Aloy figurine. So Aloy is pretty awesome. I don't know if you can play the actual board game, the regular mode, as Aloy instead of just using like the Nora Marksman, for example, but she has a pretty cool looking miniature, so pretty awesome. Next is the Shadow Carja Exile. So this guy I know you can use as a full-blown playable character with its own action deck and everything. I actually played a game as the Carja Exile and he was pretty awesome, so really cool to see him. So yeah, he's got his 2 swords, pretty savage looking guy. Next is Sona. I can't remember who Sona was in the game. Was she Erin's sister? I don't know. It seems like the sort of thing I should remember. But we have a Sona miniature. And then finally we have Erend, everyone's favourite Osram. He has a pretty cool arc as well in the Forbidden West game. So he is very lovable. I do love him. He's played very well by his actor. But that is Erend. So that's all the miniatures. Time to look at the cards. So we have a pretty thick stack of machine cards in here. So this should be interesting. I think it's not all machines. So starting off with, we have the Corrupted Fire Bellowback. So Corrupted means that they have been taken over by the bandits or maybe by the mercenaries. I'm not too sure. But Corrupted essentially just is a variant on the original Fire Bellowback. Next we have the Cultist Thugs. That's a pretty cool picture on there. It's very nice. So Shadow Carja Cultist. Then we have the Cultist Marksman. He's going to snipe you up. We have the Corrupted Watcher. Looking pretty awesome. The Corrupted Scrapper. Cultist Heavy. I'm not sure what order these are in. I think it's because we played with them and moved them into a different order. We have the Mercenary Warrior. So again, an Osram design. Very cool. We have Mercenary Heavy as well with his big heavy gun. That looks like that would hurt. We have Derval himself, the Gang of Thugs. Very cool. And then we're back to the Fire Bellowback. Underneath that, we actually have 2 stacks of cards, so we're going to look at the right one. Starting off this stack, we have the Shadow Carja Exile and their deck. So as I mentioned, they are a full playable character that you can take into any of your campaigns. So he's pretty awesome. If this hunter does not earn a Sun Trophy after an encounter, they begin the next encounter with 3 glory points. So that's pretty awesome. You can see he's got these different abilities over here. Master Swordsman, got his starting equipment. He has a sling and then the butcher's knives. So the 2 swords that he was holding are his melee weapon, which is pretty awesome. Underneath that, we've just got more stuff. He's got fire bombs. He's got ammunition for his melee weapon, so the Crimson Slash. He can parry, can deep scar enemies. Yeah, he's a pretty interesting guy. All these cards are in a really weird order for whatever reason. But he can do a lot of cool stuff, and I had a lot of fun playing as him. So that is the Shadow Carja Exile. Next, we have Aloy's deck. So this deck is spread out very similar to a normal playable character. So you've got your starting equipment, and then you've got your armor. But unlike the other characters, they don't have a level up deck. Everything just kind of goes into their main deck, and the cards are black instead of white. I guess that's just to make sure you don't get them confused. But it's a very cool color scheme. But that is Aloy and her playable deck. Let's run through some of these cards. So we have a hero appears and the Sunhawk's chosen. So these two you would put inside the event deck, and then you can have them appear inside the game. So you can see, replace your hunter with Aloy. At the end of the encounter, replace Aloy with your hunter again. If the hunting party levels up after the encounter, level up your hunter as normal. This card can only be used for level 1, 2, and 3 encounters, so not the hunter's call. So that's pretty cool. So you can bring Aloy in and use them if you're in last place, which is pretty awesome. And then for Talana, when this card is drawn, the player with the Talana model on their profile card gains 3 glory points. Then the Talana model and the Gaze at the Sunhawk card are removed from the game. Not entirely sure what all that means. We also have some cards around the Sunhawk's favor, and also Gaze of the Sunhawk. So not entirely sure what those are for, but I assume they'd be used for the campaigns. And then we have some additional cards for the merchants. So Banuk Culling Blow, Kaja Storm Ranger, Mighty Bow. So some pretty awesome ones. Lodge Warbow. So these are the Hunter's Lodge weapons that they mentioned. So some pretty nice additional weapons for the base game. The second stack of cards is somehow even bigger than the first. Starting off, we have maps for the campaign missions. So these are using the K tiles. So you can see we have the approach, first one down, onto the last camp, the Ring of Metal. And then we also have the other campaigns. So this one is for the Deval campaign, I guess. And you can see it uses the Osram boards, which is why you need Forge and Hammer. We got the Road to Pitchcliff, the Hideouts, Deval's Revenge, and Showdown. Pretty cool. Next, we have the behavior cards for the various enemies. So we have the Corrupted Fire Bellowback, which has 4 cards. The Corrupted Watcher, Scrapper, Cultist Heavy, Mercenary Warrior, Mercenary Heavy, Deval, Cultist Marksman, and Cultist Thug. Next up, we have character decks for the story missions, starting off with Val. Pretty cool. When making attack, Val may discard a salvage to gain an orange dice. Very cool. I do like the artwork a lot. Starting off with his spear and a Kaja Hunter Bow. Interesting. Nor a Silent Hunter Light. And then we have his action deck. So just like with the other Aloy deck from before, this one doesn't include upgrades or anything. This is just how you would play Val. So it's cool he gets his own deck. Next is Aloy's deck. So this is actually different to the other Aloy deck. I think the other Aloy deck is for if you were going to use Aloy within a normal game, whereas this is to use Aloy within the narrative. So you can see she also starts with a Kaja Hunter Bow, but her spear protected medium, and she has a bunch of cards in her deck. Interestingly, she also has these here, so I'm guessing these cards are only to be included in the Errand expansion or in this one, which is the Heart of the Nora expansion we've already opened, so that's pretty interesting. So some additional cards there for Aloy. Next is Sona. So you can see Sona is very clearly a Nora and not an Osram. So I'm not sure why I thought they were Aaron's sister. I can't remember who Sona is. But anyway, they've got their own deck with their own equipment, just like all of the others. Nothing too exciting in here. And then last but not least, we have Aaron's deck. So pretty nice picture of Aaron on the front. He has an Osram Maul, and he also has Arrow Breaker armor. Does he have a ranged weapon? Oh no, he just has a satchel, so he doesn't use ranged weapons. That's pretty cool. And then he's got a different deck here, so pretty awesome. I haven't played all of the encounters in the Kickstarter exclusive, but I am definitely open to doing so. So there you have it. First draws are closed to the Kickstarter exclusives expansion and the final expansion for Horizon Zero Dawn. So if you've watched this playlist from start to finish, thank you very much and congratulations on your accomplishment. These took quite a long time to go through and film all of them, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been fun looking through these expansions once again. There's a lot to like with the Horizon board game, and quite an expensive endeavor though to collect everything. I definitely wouldn't recommend doing it, but I was only one away, which is why I had to get Heart of the Nora. So thanks again for watching this whole playlist, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll have some more videos about other board games soon, and until then, I'll see you later.